Hello everybody. I'm hopping on a couple minutes early just to make sure that things are going as we expect them to. So hopefully that is all working well and that we'll start seeing some live stuff happening soon. People popping in. Hopefully. I had issues last week, so I am hoping that it is not going to be a problem today. All right, let me see if anybody pops on here in a second or two. I'm gonna also check out on my laptop and see if I can see if I'm live. You probably hear a lot of blinging in the background, so I apologize for that while this gets all set up. And that means it must be time to go. All right, hold on 1 second there. Let me get that turned off. There we go. I think it stopped. All right. Whoops. Sorry, I had to bump the camera to do that, though. All right. It looks like I am live. Yay. It's working this week. Hooray. It was quite frustrating last week when I could not get that to go. So, yay. Okay. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that you all had a great weekend. Had some fun celebrating. If that was your choice to do this year, I screamed my little voice off yesterday at the Packer game, so I sounded a little rough, but it was definitely a good one to be at. All right, I want to remind everybody that these catalogs will start in just a couple of days on the 5th of January. If you don't already have them in your mailbox, shoot me a message, either here in this live or just on my page or whatever, so that I can go ahead and get those in the mail to you so you have those to take a look at. I'll also have a link for viewing them online, so you'll be able to see them there if you don't already have these going on. I'll give you a sneak peek at one of the celebration sets tonight with my final sample. I did it as a swap, and I'm going to share it with you guys later tonight here. All right, so let's get started with episode number 97. Counting down, just a couple more weeks till we hit 100. We'll have a good celebration that night as well. I'll probably do some like door prizes or something fun like that so that we can really enjoy our 100th episode together. All right, so tonight, as a reminder, I told you guys to have cut 2 of some things because you're going to have a little bit of a cut once, get 2 option out of your bases here. So you want 2 card bases that are 4 1/4 by 11, and they're each scored at 5 1/2. I'm using Night of Navy. You want a piece of cardstock, just one, that's 4 by 5 1/4. I have Balmy Blue. You're going to want a piece of DSP, also 4 by 5 1/4. I am using the Balmy Blue, one of the Balmy Blue sheets from the Subtles grouping of designer series paper. And then for neutrals, you want 2. We're going to say circles for this. You can decide later if you're not doing it with me live. You can change that into any shape you want. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you tonight. Happy New Year to you as well. You can turn that into a different shape or a die cut, anything you want to do, but circles are usually easy for everybody to come up with. So starting out with a circle for the showing tonight, and you can change that up as you use these in the future. And then for your phrases, I said 1/2 by 1 1/2. Again, if you don't quite have a phrase that fits that, you can adjust the length or width or whatever you need. You can see where it's going to go to once it's all put together with something that might fit better for you. But that's just a little schnibble of something that'll work with what we've got going on. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, also I said grab your paper trimmer and have a little bit of scotch tape handy. So we're going to start out with our 2 pieces that are 4 by 5 1/4, both of our cardstock and our, I'm going to move that up just a little bit, there we go, our designer series paper. So like I said, have a little bit of scotch tape handy. We're going to cut the designer series paper. Let's cut from the side that you don't want showing. So I want my stripes to end up being what I see on the outside of my card. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that over. And now you can see that's the other side. We're going to take one corner and line it up in the track, opposite corner lined up in the track, and we're going to slice that down the middle. Now, if you can very carefully lift that up, don't move anything yet, grab a tiny little piece of tape and put it right back over where you just cut so that they kind of stay together. And you're going to rotate that, and we're going to do the same cut. And it's easier if the pieces that you first cut are still sort of attached to each other, so that you don't have to worry about them falling all over the place. All right, so turn it the other direction and slice again. So now you're going to have 4 triangles. And the reason for the scotch tape, again, is just to hold it together. And if you peel very gently, it should come off really easily. But just in case there is a little tear or something, that is why I told you to do it from the back side, so you're not wrecking the part that you actually want to use. Now we're going to sort those by their size. You want the sizes, the similar sizes, to stay together. So the more right-angled looking ones and then the not quite right-angled looking ones are going to stay together. And as you may guess, we're going to do the exact same thing to this piece right here. Now, since it's just cardstock, which side you do doesn't matter because they're both the same. And so we're going to do this one first. And again, I'm just going to use a little bit. If you don't have scotch tape, you can use washi tape. Just a little bit of your snail adhesive or your stamp and seal run across there. Just something to hold it temporarily. Just stick a Post-it note over it. Like I said, just something to temporarily hold it in place while you do those 2 cuts. Okay? Now again, we're going to keep the like ones together, but you're going to pair them with their opposites on the part of the designer series paper. So the 2 different angled ones are going to go with your more straight angles or your right. Now see, it's been a while since I've done geometry. I believe we have right triangles in here, and my kiddo would correct me if I have this wrong, but is it isosceles? Does anybody know? Anybody still enough of a math geek to remember that stuff? And those are going to go then with that right there. Okay? So set those aside. That's all we need your paper trimmer and the scotch tape for at this point. And then go ahead and grab your circles and whatever images or whatever you brought to decorate those up. And again, if you want to make them exactly the same, that's what I'm going to do to show you how to get 2 out of 1, basically. I'm going to use the Let's Set Sail stamp sets, and I'm using phrases from Go To Greetings tonight. You'll see Go To Greetings pop up a few times throughout my samples. That's a good one. It's literally, it's so well named, Go To Greetings. I go to it quite a lot. What I like is that there's similar phrases in various sizes and fonts, and so it goes literally with almost anything you have. So I'm going to create just a little bit of a water image here, and I'm going to use parts that I've stamped on and stamped off so that I get a little bit of different color throughout for my water. So stamping off and repeating gives me just a little bit of a different effect there. All right, and then for my sailboat, I'm going to use crumb cake. That was balmy blue, by the way. I'm going to use my crumb cake for my sailboat itself. Oh, he should probably be more on the water. There we go. I did my water up a little higher than I anticipated. So one of my sails is going to be a little bit wonky. All right, and then the 2 sail shapes I'm going to take and do a Night of Navy. All right, and this one, let's get a better handle on that, goes on this side of the sailboat. Well, that didn't work out very well at all, did it? There we go. Beauty of photopolymer, you can kind of go over where you were and see where you left off because I didn't have the impression quite right. There we go. All right, there's sail number 1. And I'm gonna go ahead and do sail number 2 on this side. All right, so there's 1 boat and 2 boats completed. Nope, there again, my pressure's off a little bit tonight because I have a wonky block that I'm using. It was off in my hands. Okay, so now I have my 2 circle images all completed, and I'm going to go ahead and start some assembly. Oh wait, you know what? As long as we've got these out, let's go ahead and do that phrase, whatever you chose. I grabbed Just a Note from the Go To Greetings, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in my Night of Navy. Okay, now they're all ready to go. Oh, actually, I'm going to bring him down just a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better looking. Okay, now get the inks out of the way so I stop sticking my fingers in them. All right, go ahead and grab your card bases. Now we're going to do some reassembly of the pieces that we just cut out. So as you may imagine, those 4 triangles are going to go together, back together again, and look like one piece that is the 4 by 5 1/4. And if you end up having trouble lining these up, you can always go ahead and grab a sheet of like white that you cut to 4 by 5 1/4 and lay those triangles out on that and then cut that down. Hi Joyce, good to see you tonight. Happy New Year to you as well. So this is what we're going to end up doing. So your 2 more right angled ones are for here, and you're going to place them so that you get kind of like this hourglass looking part again. Okay. And then your 2 other angles are going to come, triangles are going to come in like this. And that is how you're going to adhere them down. Okay. And if you want to, you could leave that little gap in between if you want to see the other cardstock coming through. I will assemble this one like that, and I'll assemble the other one put together so you can kind of see the difference. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take one out with some adhesive. And then fit him right back in. So I could kind of, whoopsie, so I could kind of see where I'm going here. Yeah, sorry about my voice tonight, guys. I'm a little bit, little hoarse from all the excited yelling I had at the game last night. Hi, Pat. Good to see you tonight. Okay, so we're going to leave a little gap there again. So you've got just a tiny little bit of a border in between those, if you so choose. The rest of them I pretty much assembled all put together, and with a few other additions as well. So you're going to be able to see a couple of different ways that you can do this. And like I said, if you're having trouble getting these to line up the way that you want them to be, go ahead and cut that 4 by 5 1/4 piece, and you can just cover it completely with these triangles, and you'll be able to get a better handle on what that is looking like. And then it'll be easier to put down in one piece as opposed to 4 different ones. All depends on how nimble your fingers are feeling. Okay. So there's mine assembled with just a little bit of a gap. Now we're going to cover this part in the middle, so don't worry that they're not perfectly arranged right there. That is what your image is for. You can decide now if you want it to be perfectly centered, a little off to the left or a little off to the right, based on what you want to do with your phrase. Okay, so your phrase can come off your circle, either side, obviously, depending on what your images look like. It can be popped up over your circle just a little bit. So you have lots of different options for how you want to assemble that together. So I'll do this one a little bit off to the side. Actually, nope, I'm going to go a little more centered. And then I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals and pop this guy up, and he's going to cover the sailboat image just a tiny bit, sticking off over here like that. Okay, so there's one version. And then we're going to go ahead and do this one too, and I'm going to put these guys closer together so you can see the difference without the break in between. Alrighty, get my DSP going here. All right, there is the first one. And I like to start, if I'm doing it this way, I do like to start with the 2 that are the same, and then I can overlap and fill in with the 2 that are then the opposites of what that is. Okay. All right, so that brings those 2 pretty much, whoopsie, close together. And now I will grab the cardstock ones. And then again, if you missed it earlier, this is Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, and then the DSP is the Balmy Blue, one of the sheets of Balmy Blue from the Subtles color family, the color stack of DSP. And some of the other ones I'm using tonight, I am still using from the mini catalog. It's going to end in just a couple of days. Those particular ones I'm using are still available. I did check the last chance list last night just to make sure, so hopefully they are still there tonight. But it would be the Rustic Harvest and the Gingham. I can't believe the Gingham one is still there, guys. You should totally snatch that one up. It's not only is it a great stack of paper, it's a big stack of paper. You get lots and lots of sheets, and it's discounted. Like, you cannot go wrong with that Gingham stack. I'm telling you, everybody should have one of those. And it's straight up gingham pattern, so it's not like it's even seasonal looking or anything. Love it, love it, love it. All right, this guy I'm going to pop up a little bit so he's getting some regular dimensionals on him. And this time I'm going to go this way and down just a little bit. And because that part is already popped up over here, I'm just going to put one dimensional on the left side, and that's going to make it flat to my circle with just a little bit of adhesive on the other side. Okay, there we go. Okay, and there is that style of it. Okay, so whenever you cut like this, you guys, obviously you get 2 out of 1. Just repeat your images and your phrases if you desire, or change them up. They don't have to be exactly the same. But when you're doing assembly line stuff, this is one of the really nice ways to go through and work it that way. Okay, so there are sailboat ones. I also took this one here has the cat image from, of course I forgot to bring my list over. This one also has a dog and a guinea pig. I think it's Glad We're Friends or something to that effect. And this is part of the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper. It's one of the back sides of that one. So yes, there are like pumpkins and gourds and stuff like that, but there's this nice Cajun with just some dots. There's a pretty green with a little viney pattern. Very, very nice coloring on those guys. And then I used vanilla as my base and crumb cake as my neutral for those guys. And I used just a little bit of blends to color in my kitty cat for that one there. All right, now with this one here, I took painted poppies and I did a couple of different things with this one. So one other option you could do is if you want to on the cardstock, you could do a little bit of embossing. So this was sent through with the Pretty Petals embossing folder. And so that adds just a little bit of interest and dimension to the part that might be the plain color. I also added a little bit of twine from the, that is the Sweet Sorbet. You get all 5 colors of those ink colors in the twine package. Love, love, love that. I love working with twine. I love the narrow twines and ribbons, especially because I don't like a lot of bulk, but they add just a nice little something when you're using those that way. And again, the hello is going to come from that go-to greetings. All right, for this next one, I took the Sweet Cherries. And on this one, I added a green layer behind the part where the 4 triangles are going to meet. So that's a little bit of granny apple green along with my real red. And on this one, instead of embossing on the plain cardstock, I stamped. I took the little basket weave stamp from that set and just repeated the pattern across the 2 of the real red pieces. So that gives that just a little bit of interest. So there's different ways you could play around with that. Add stamps to those. Go ahead and, oh, thanks, Mom. I thought this one was a fun one too. And it's one I haven't used in a while, and I brought it back for, like I said, I was doing a swap, and it was a really easy way to just cut a bunch and still have enough DSP to go around for all. I think I had to make 22 of them or something like that. So that was a really nice way to do it. Let's see, what else did I do? Okay, so that is those guys. Let me pull these off for a second and grab the stepped up version of what I did here. So again, these were the 2 I started with on camera where we're putting all the triangles together. This is one where it leaves just a little bit of gap in between. Now when I did this one, the only thing I really did differently is I added another layer behind my circle. Everything got popped up. I went a little bit longer on my phrase and took the happy birthday. And I used the punch that goes with the Let's Set Sail. So there's the sailboat builder punch. There we go. And so all parts of the boat were punched out and put onto there. So I put down the boat flat, but then I used dimensionals on the sails so that they have a little bit of life to them as well. Alrighty, so there is several of those guys right there. And here's the one I made for the swap. This is the Amazing Owls. Look at how cute those are. They're so, so sweet. I did these in a variety of different shades of our new In Color collection. So this particular one is Orchid Oasis. So then I did like a sorbet version and a parakeet version. So I was using all the different twines, all the different DSPs, all the different blends. I colored the owls out a little bit differently when I sent those out as well. But same concept. So I took, everyone got one that was maybe just a slightly different. But I was able to use my Designer Series paper pack for that as a 6x6. There aren't a lot of pieces in there. And this one made, right, with you like that one a little bit better, Joyce, where it shows off the color behind. Cool, like it. I like it with the blue kind of like it makes that little sailboat get a really good focus, doesn't it? But with that Designer Series paper stack that's 6x6, I was able to get a lot more bang for my buck with using just 2 pieces on each of those particular ones. It's like I said, especially when I had to make 20 something of them. All right, let me bring these guys back in so you can see all the versions again. This one produced a lot of samples because it was like making 2 of everything. Well, it wasn't like that. It literally did make 2 of everything. All right, guys, I will have these all up on the website shortly. Please go ahead and share with me what you made with yours. I want to see what papers you're using. I want to see what particular way you went with this. Did you like it with a gap? Did you like it embossed? Did you like extra layers? Did you stamp on yours? I want to see all the fun things that you guys are doing with yours. So please share once you've created your samples. All right, everybody. Thanks again for joining me tonight. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again next Monday here in the studio. Thanks, Kathy. You guys have a great